diri kay kuhaon ta mo as witness sa murder nga nahitabo. Karon mangutana ko sa inyong pangalan ug sa inyong edad.
Ang pangalan is Arjan Trinquite. I'm 19 years old.
Ako si Rab Urias, 19 years old.
Juan Pablo sir, 16 years old.
Sige, karon sa nahitabo nga murder, unsay inyong nakita atong pangitabo?
So nakita na ko sir kay ang driver sa sakyanan nakita na niya ang lalaki tapos di pa dayon gyud mo siya kusog padagan niya. Mga kana ligsan.
Akong nakita sir, ang atong lalaki ganahan mo lihay. Pero tungod sa kusog sa dagan, di na siya kalihay.
Ako abot sir atong paminaw sa driver sir, murag intention ito niya sir, release sir, kay murag wag siya ni unong do sir ba. Tapos lawas ito ya sir.
Karon sa katong panghitabuan, naaman mo ato tanan dapit no, nakita man jud mo nga hitabo to.
Sir.
Unsa pa inyong na detalye nga makatag nga kuan nakita ba ninyo ang plaka? Nakita ba ninyo ang kolor sa sakyanan?
Ang plaka sir, nakita na ko. Gauna kay C, ang usa kay A, then ang kinalasan kay G. O wala na ko makita sa tibuok pa nga plaka.
Ug ang kato nga sakyanan sir ay Isuzu MUX.
Si karon sa kaninyong mga detalye ang ihatag kung madakpan na mo ang nag-commit ani nga murder mo sugot ba mo nga kwaon nga testigo against niya?
Ang sugot rami sir,
Sugot na, sir.
para matagag hustisya ang gibanggaan.
Sige. Maura na karong adlaw. Sige, salamat kayo sa tanan ninyo nga gi-provide nga impormasyon. Sige,
Okay, salamat sir.
In objectivist ethics, murder is morally wrong. It goes against the fundamental principles of individual rights and rational self-interest. Taking someone's life without proper justification is a direct violation of their right to life and autonomy. Self-defense is the only morally justifiable use of force, consistent with the principles of individual rights.
When is murder justifiable in situational ethics? In situational ethics, the idea of justifiable murder is a highly controversial and debated topic. As mentioned earlier, situational ethics propose that the morality of an action depends on the context and circumstances surrounding it, but only if the person reasonably believes that a killing was necessary in order to prevent an imminent threat, death, or serious harm to himself or herself. In this situation, the act done which resulted in the death of another party making another person commit murder does not justify the act and highly unethical and immoral. Murder due to anger does not justify an unethical paradigm.
John Rawls' work had a significant impact on political philosophy. It influenced debates on social injustice, economic inequality, and the role of government in promoting fairness. His ideas have been widely discussed and debated by scholars and have shaped the discourse on justice in modern political thought.
In the context of Immanuel Kant's ethical philosophy, the categorical imperative is a fundamental principle that guides moral actions. Kant formulated several formulations of the categorical imperative, but the most well-known version is often stated as follows: act only according to that maxim by which you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. When applying the categorical imperative to the act of a murder, it is clear that murder would be considered morally wrong. Number 1, universalizability. 2, respect for rational beings. Based on these considerations, murder is deemed morally impermissible according to the categorical imperative. The categorical imperative demands that individuals act with respect for universal principles and treat others with the same dignity and respect they would want for themselves. Taking another person's life violates these principles and is considered incompatible with Kant's moral philosophy. It's important to note that Kant's ethical system places a strong emphasis on the intent and rationality behind actions. Rather than solely focusing on the consequences, this means that even if an act like murder were to have beneficial outcomes in some instances, it would still be considered morally wrong according to the categorical imperative, as the intent behind the act is inherently unethical.
Utilitarianism and murder. In utilitarian ethics, the moral permissibility of an action, including murder, is determined by its overall consequences in maximizing happiness or well-being for the greatest number of people. Utilitarianism is a consequentialist ethical theory, meaning that the morality of an action is judged by its outcomes rather than its inherent nature or principles. When it comes to murder, utilitarianism would assess whether the act of killing another person leads to more overall happiness or less suffering in a given situation. The utilitarian calculus involves considering the immediate and long-term consequences of the action on all parties involved, as well as the ripple effects on society as a whole. In any case, the evaluation of murder from a utilitarian perspective requires a careful examination of the specific circumstances and a comprehensive analysis of the potential consequences on well-being and happiness for all affected parties.
Natural law ethics. Murder is universally considered morally wrong as it violates fundamental principles that can be discovered through reason and observation of the natural world. Central to this ethical framework is the belief in inherent goods such as preserving life and establishing a just society. Murder, the intentional killing of another human being, directly contradicts the inherent good of preserving life and is seen as a grave offense against natural law. However, there may be exceptional cases where the use of lethal force is considered justifiable, such as in self-defense or protecting innocent lives from immediate harm, aligning with the principle of preserving life and the common good. Overall, natural law ethics provide a strong moral foundation against murder, emphasizing the importance of respecting and preserving human life while acknowledging the complexity of applying these principles to specific situations. In this case, the act of murder is fueled by jealousy and hatred due to the boyfriend finding out that there is another lover, where it led to extreme anger which clouded his judgment, resulting to murder. No ethical paradigm deems murder as moral and ethical.